Let's step back in time, shall we? The date is March 3rd, 2005 to be exact, at least in the UK. Because, Americans, we had to wait till April 27th to kind of get this release date for Charlie HIgson's Silverfin. It's his first book in the Young Bond series, a series of teenage thriller kind of adventure novels. But we have to go back even further because HIgson placed Bond all the way back in the 30s. But before we rush through a good thing.
Absolutely. There's no sense in going off half-cocked.
Allow me to bring in today's guest. You know him as the host of Suit Up Podcast, a professional writer, an amateur swashbuckler, and an author of the recently released titled book, Thorn. Please put your hands together and welcoming Terrance Layhew.
Riss, thank you so much.
Great to see you, my friend. Great to see you.
It is always a pleasure.
It is. We have done this a few times, but I think today's a little bit unique. I think we have something special to talk about. And for everybody at home, we're going to be breaking down what is Young Bond. Ian Fleming Publications recently made this announcement about a set of audio dramas around Young Bond. And they're starting with the Charlie HIgson series, of course. They may branch out, but I also want to talk about the fact that you've got this new book coming out called Thorn. Now, I know I'm going to get a copy, but tell everybody where they can get their copy first.
They can go to Amazon.com, obviously easiest place to get a book sent directly to you. If you were to want a physical copy signed by yours truly and you live in the United States, send me a DM on Instagram and I will happily sign one of those babies and ship it off to you.
Outstanding. I'm going to leave the link down below for that. We're talking about this before we hit record. His pacing in this is fantastic. You're going to see some of his inspiration. If you like the old Robin Hood novels, if you like swashbuckling, if you like adventure thriller, you're going to be on board with Thorn. Make sure you check that out. So I wanted to address Young Bond because I feel like obviously you're in the mindset of writing.
Yes.
And taking a book that is 20 plus years old, a series that is
I didn't realize it's that old, and now I feel old. Wow.
You're welcome. Well, but that's kind of a testament that they're going to utilize this series to kind of tap into this. I don't want to say it's a new format, but it's a new format for Bond. We've never had an audio drama for any of the continuation novels, any of the original novels. And that's what I wanted to talk about today, because this is such a unique platform to push. First off, I want to go ahead and I want to pull up the website because I want everybody to understand what we're really talking about here. Okay, so this was posted on February 11th, 2026. So we're just about a month out from this announcement. The website goes on to say and kind of describe this as the teenage James Bond returns in a brand new full cast audio drama for Big Finish Productions. We're going to talk more about them later. Beginning in September of 2026 with an adaptation of Silverfin by Charlie HIgson, which is the first book in the series that Charlie did. Ian Fleming Publications Ltd and Big Finish Productions are pleased to announce Young Bond, a new range of full cast audio dramas bringing the teenage years of Ian Fleming's legendary secret agent to life in cinematic sound. This brand new series is adapted from the previously published Young Bond novels, reimagined for audio as cinematic, full cast audio drama. The range will begin with an adaptation of Silverfin by Charlie HIgson, the first Young Bond novel, originally published in 2005. Charlie HIgson is also involved as a consultant on the series. It's really nice, actually. Big Finish will soon be casting the roles for James Bond and Wilder Lawless, and inviting approaches from actors, representatives only. Details on the roles and types of actors being sought will be published on YoungBondAdventures.com. Be sure to check that out. And then it goes on to kind of say, like, to receive mission briefings, you can click this link. and it takes you over to a secondary page. The fun thing about this, I went ahead and did this actually because it's pretty fun. It says, you go down to the bottom, it says sign up for briefings, and you can click to generate your code name.
Ooh.
I know. Fancy schmancy. So I went ahead and did that, got my code name set up. My code name is currently Navy Blackbird number 3.
Ooh.
I know, I thought it was pretty nice. You can keep hitting it, regenerating it. It's just fun. I get it. I get what they're doing. So leading in, obviously, we kind of have a core understanding of what this is. I didn't know what audio dramas were prior to this. I had never heard about them. And I think that's partially because as much as I have leaned into the literary bond aspect in the past few years, reading literature in general is not a common pastime for me. I'm more of an artist. I find myself getting my hands into things more. That's what I really enjoy. So the audio dramas, tell us, obviously you have some experience with these. Tell us what these are.
So an audio drama is when essentially a story is taken and given a full cast. So my favorite comparison to use is when people hear about the War of the Worlds broadcast that Orson Welles did back in the 50s, ? That is an example of a full cast audio drama where they're taking an existing story and they're adapting it for a shorter range of time. But every character in the story, essentially, it's like having a film script without the camera. And I think that's one of the interesting things about seeing where they're leaning in this case, because they can't get a Young Bond series necessarily made on Amazon Prime, in theory. That's probably takes a lot more legal negotiations to make happen because of the interconnected way that IFP and Dan Jack and Eon Productions all link up. An audio drama is a wonderful way of being able to take an existing story and give it a fresh facelift that could still potentially get someone to want to go out and get the book itself or even the audiobook version if they like the story enough. And Silverfin is such a perfect story to start with because, Chris, I don't know if you've read Silverfin in its entirety yet. It's like, I remember when I read it, I was like, this is an adult novel almost because of how it's so gothic in some ways. It's very serious. Like, I'm hearing Universal monster movie sound effects in my head already, thinking about what this audio drama version could look like.
Well, and I think that's something we should clarify for everyone at home who maybe doesn't understand the difference between an audiobook and an audio drama. I dove into this a little bit myself, and correct me if I'm wrong. Now, an audiobook is literally, it is a reading of the book.
Correct. Text word for word.
Word for word. However, they do go into characters. I mean, I think most of us at this point, if you're watching this video, you probably listen to an audiobook. You understand that one person is reading, but they will change their voice. An audio drama, every character is cast individually.
Yes. And
they include sound effects, explosions, music, atmospheric tones. So it really is that cinematic experience.
It's immersive.
It's like listening to a movie. It's like closing your eyes and watching a movie. That's what I wanted to make sure we're on the same page with first. But for my first question for you is, really, what are your thoughts on IFP pumping life back into Silverfin for this first audio drama? And why should people even care about this format?
Care about the format because I think that this is honestly the next big wave. Like, in terms of storytelling, audiobooks and the audiobook delivery systems that exist now are very robust. Like, the way that you can use a podcast to premiere and pilot a audio form story, and then being able to put on Audible, Chirp, there's like so many different avenues. I think that audio dramas are going to be the next big thing because anytime people are traveling, working, you were talking about you like to be a hands-on physical things artist. For me growing up, I would listen to old-time radio or audiobooks or radio dramas while I was working on Legos. Like, when you're actually tactilely doing things, you can still be listening to a story, which means it's more accessible to generally people than sitting down and watching a movie. Fewer and fewer people are showing up to theaters, and anytime you put something onto a television, you're competing against their phone. And so being able to have the audio form, but enhance it, value add to it in this way, I think is such a great move. Silverfin in particular, I think the Young Bond series is fantastic because they're hitting that 20-year point, which means they literally have a whole new generation of people that have probably not read these books. And then you have the nostalgia of people that did read it when they were younger, going, oh, this is a great way for me to revisit that. And also, again, I think that Charlie HIgson did write such a strong story in Silverfin that it's really a enjoyable tale that does feel adult in a lot of ways. It's just adult enough in the way that, like, the same person who reads The Hunger Games where children get slaughtered, that age range can read Silverfin.
You know, it's funny, I looked into some of the reviews on Silverfin, and I got a mixed bag. I really did. I don't know if it's just the fandom enjoyed it, or there was a few people that were saying that it was much to what you were saying, agreeing with you and just kind of going on and saying it's a more adult kind of a paced book or a themed book, but you know, if it's still in the universe of Bond, it explores a younger generation of him, and I could see it being a great entry point without being too far adult. But then other people were just like, it was boring, it was absolutely not for kids, this should not be for children. And I think that's gonna, with a 20-year gap, things are gonna change. I mean, I remember back when I was a kid going and watching Teen Wolf in theaters. I'm gonna age myself here, really young when I saw that, by the way. And it was rated PG-13, and by today's standards, that would be R. Yes. Like, so you know, I think our rating systems and our perception, there's context with time and place and what we're talking about. But to kind of piggyback on that, I did run the numbers on audiobooks, and Terrance, I want you to go ahead and pull up your Instagram because I just sent you a message with 2 images, and I want you to take a look at these. So I ran the numbers for audio dramas and podcasts. I crunched the numbers.
Holy
ages 10 years old to 40 years old in the UK and the US. Now, UK and US, obviously, it's going to be the 2 biggest markets for James Bond. And I was so shocked when I saw these numbers. We are looking at over 1/3 of the audience is 25 to 34 in both markets. 18 to 24, we're looking at holding less than 1/3, still a larger chunk. And I'm going to throw these up on screen if I haven't already yet, which I probably have. But you know, you can clearly see that while IFP, I know what they're trying to do. They're trying to get the next generation of readers into Bond in any way they can. But I'm looking at these numbers and I'm saying, okay, if this is where podcasts, if this is where audio dramas numbers are at with those age groups, I mean, look at, you've got, what is it, 10 to 17 there? It's the smallest slice of the pie. And I would think that's their biggest target. But even if I say that, if I go 18 to 34, 60 to 65%, if we say 35 to 40, it's 20 to 25%, the teen listeners are going to be disproportionately responsible for activity on social media, on creating fan art, and on community growth. So even though they're going to hold a smaller chunk of the pie, I have a feeling they're going to be more impactful, and I think IFC knows that.
I was just going to say, I think that one of the other things that this lends well to is, because they're already doing this a bit when they re-release the audiobook versions with the new celebrity voices. This gives them another, like, shareable audio clip format.
Oh, yeah.
That they can use and run with, and they already have the Young Bond comic stuff that they could actually use as the background art with the thing and then pop it out there.
I love it. And that might be, could you see them putting out almost like a graphic novel compendium?
Potentially. Like, I 100% see where if they are able to tie this in, it all depends on how much traction they start getting. If they start seeing that this is moving more, they're going to try pushing more in that direction. I have no doubt that 0 minus 10. Yes, I always get it mixed up with the Godzilla film title. Unfortunately, I'm sorry, Raymond. But unfortunately, like I don't. I want to see them put out the rest of his books republished, and I think that if there had been more call for that when it first came out, I know that they did the full compendium, they did the big omnibus.
Yep.
I think that the moment that they start seeing signal in any way, they're going to start moving more towards that.
Well, I think it would be smart of them to go ahead and at least start setting up for that. In the event that they need to pull the trigger, they've got things in place ready to go.
Well, this is the advantage, I think, with the audio form that they're doing, and with what they're doing is that they have the catalog. Because that's really the thing, is constantly finding, as an author who has several books out right now, you can search for any of them on Amazon, Apple, all the plugs, but you constantly try to figure out how to market your back catalog. The Bond back catalog is pretty extensive at this point, and being able to use the Charlie HIgson Young Bond novels as their launching point is, I think, a brilliant idea.
It is. Well, that brings me to my next question then. So if IFP, Ian Fleming Publications, is trying to attract new, younger readers, does this feel like a real attempt at partnering with Big Fish Productions? Does this feel like they're really trying, or do you see this as like a tester?
Ooh, that's a good question, because I 100% see where if this goes well and they like working with Big Finish, really the question becomes, obviously rights are always the big thing.
Yeah.
But they could potentially end up doing more of the Bond canon, because they have so many different books, the originals and the continuation novels all would make thrilling audio dramas, some of them more so than others. You and I both are big fans of Raymond Benson. His cinematic storytelling style would be so great in the audio form. I think part of the thing that I think that using the Charlie HIgson books is interesting, because Charlie HIgson, with the audio format, HIgson stuck with the original Fleming timeline, which is the advantage for IFP here, is that if they start with the young Bond, then there is a chance people listening to that can just slide right into the regular Fleming canon without any interference. The flip side of that also being, because it's the audio form, you don't have the same visual cues where you go, wait, this is happening in the 1920s and 1930s, not the present day.
And that's the fun part about these. And I wonder, once the ball is rolling, once the machine has picked up traction, let's just say, and I'm speculating right now, but if they're starting in 2020, September of 26 with Soberfin, how rapidly, and again, you have more experience in this, how rapidly could we expect follow-ups?
I think a year is reasonable.
Okay, so
because they can take the story and adapt it.
Okay.
That process, it all depends really on how much the writers are spending time on it. But then you just have, from what I've heard, it depends on how long the audio is, really. If they're going to truncate it to an hour a piece, it's much quicker turnaround. If they're doing 8 hours, if they're doing closer to the length of the actual book in terms of time, it will take longer. But in theory, from what I've seen with a couple of audio drama places, if you have only an hour-ish program, you could, in theory, basically make it in 6 months, edit it, put it out. And that's 2 different stages of production. You could have a different setup of people working on the next one and just continually moving from A and B team.
Right, that's what I was wondering. I didn't know if it's realistic for us to even expect, because these are older and because they're going to want to go ahead and get something established, if we could expect one every quarter for a year. If that's realistic for Big Finish. I mean, they've got, guys, if you don't know who Big Finish is, go take a look at it. I was shocked to see who they're involved with. If you like Doctor Who, forget about it. They've got everything you can imagine.
That's another great point of how what Ian Fleming Publications is doing here is they've obviously partnered with someone who has a great deal of experience in this industry, and they already have an existing fan base. Something that one of the guests I've had on the show didn't realize until he was putting out his book and he got the audiobook guy and all that stuff. He was like, audiobook people have fans, like narrators have fans, and the same thing happens with production companies that do audio dramas. There are going to be a stalwart group of people that they have gotten every Big Finish audio drama, and they're like, oh cool, this Bond thing,
and they can run with it. That's the thing, and I want to make it clear is that this is just the starting point for Bond. When you look at their catalog for Doctor Who, guys, it is so massive. I mean, it's like Terrance's library on the shelf. Just look, imagine if all of those were Doctor Who novels and they were all audio dramas. It's literally that large of a catalog. And so for them to start, and I love how you bring this up, chronologically with young Bond in the 1930s, for them to just keep working their way through all the way through the Fleming novels and then let's go ahead and start adding in the Felix Leiter novel. Because that wedges right in. Oh, but wait, then we've got Horowitz's novels that fall right into place too. Like, this opens up a floodgate.
Can I just say, I know that we're talking Young Bond, but The Hook in the Eye has just such a noir feeling. I want the Felix Leiter slight Texan accent voice giving me that wonderful voiceover first-person narration. Because that would feel so much like the old-time radio programs from like the 30s, 40s, and 50s. I'd be like,
I honestly, between me and you, because I've talked to Raymond about this, I want Raymond to voice Leiter.
Yes, he'd do phenomenal.
He would. He knows he's done it for me. He knows the tone. He knows how to deliver the line. He wrote the damn book. So, let's just let the man have the voice. I think it would be such a great nod to include him, and I think it would be easy for him to be able to knock that out.
Well, hello, 00. Fine way to treat the CIA.
Final kind of wrap up here. This is a big year for Bond. 2026. We're coming across 4 mediums that we get to consume. Is this not crazy?
It is. I'm so excited. I feel like we are. I'm a baby in a lot of ways, even though I feel old. So I was an infant when GoldenEye came out, which means I did not experience I have heard legend of the GoldenEye Nintendo 64 game.
Do you know how to use one of these?
Shot by shot by shot. Load a rumble pack and see how it feels when 007 meets Nintendo 64.
And I say it, and you see people who are gamers, it's a moment of quiet reverence because it was so iconic and such a part of the zeitgeist. And I think First Light has so much of an opportunity to do the same. What I also appreciate is with this young Bond audio drama that they're talking about.
Yeah.
This has, I think, an opportunity to bring in the literary Bond more, because I want to continue seeing, we've talked about this on and off camera before.
Yeah.
We haven't had literary Bond for a while. And this is an opportunity to stimulate that a little bit more in a way that warms my heart. And again, I just love the medium so much. I want to see Ian Fleming Publications do more of this kind of thing.
Absolutely. Well, and so to break down those 4 that we've got coming this year, we've got May 19th, we've got Kim Sherwood's literary Bond.
That's right.
With Hurricane Room. So she's wrapping up her trilogy. It really is. I like this one. And I've read some of the snippets on it. And just for everybody out there who may have been a Kim Sherwood hater, calm down. Bond is in this book. So there you go. Then May 27th, shortly after, we've got the official release of First Light video game that is going to take us into a whole nother stratosphere, because I feel like it's really going to open the door for this next generation to, like you said, have their Bond moment, have that get together with friends, and you're celebrating around what can be a really unique adventure with a brand new fresh-faced Bond. Fresh-faced. Say that 10 times fast. And then, of course, we've also heard that we're going to get casting announcements for Bond 26. So now we're cinematic Bond. That's going to be hitting sometime in the summer. Villeneuve's gone on to say that he's going to make an announcement mid 26. So I'm anticipating anywhere between June and August, we're going to get something about casting, which is going to be, because we were all just gnawing at the bit.
Yes.
Man. And then you wrap up the year with this whole new format that nobody's had to play with yet, and these audio dramas in September. So what are you most excited for?
That's not fair. The thing is, I'm not a game guy. Like, I desperately wish that I was, because I would have, that would probably be my number one if I was a game guy. That would be the number one. Because I am a literary Bond guy, I think in my soul, I am most excited for the audio drama, just because it encompasses so much of what I love and what my passions are. I think that, like, my big thing for cinematic Bond was just hearing Stephen Knight describe what he wants to do with the story, because I'm a writer. So, like, I'm the guy I'm the nerd that pays attention to the writing credits in television and movies.
Yeah.
So knowing that Stephen Knight has a kind of clear vision for, oh no, I get Bond and I'm going to take it this way. That makes, and the fact that he's not going to say what his favorite movies are so that you don't think what he's going to try making, that makes me excited, fills me with hope. And I think that this is just a great year for Bond, and it's going to be an amazing year for Bond fans.
Terrance, thank you so much for being here today, brother. I really appreciate it. For everybody who would like to check up on what Terrance is doing these days, I'm going to leave links to all of his socials and how you can purchase your copy of Thorn down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Terrance, again, thank you for being here.
Chris, you are an amazing host. Thanks again for letting me come on your show.
No problem. I'll talk to you soon. For everybody at home, thanks so much for watching. And as always, Merry Christmas, 007.